Guys, just a reminder here. This was for school. This was for school. A lot of people know I like object shows, right? But I think the most important thing to remember here, I was younger. I'm a changed person. I think I can do things better. I forced all 20 of my classmates to watch my object show documentary.
On this camera we found.
I originally did a nature one. And the night before, I went up to my lab instructor and I said, hey, I want to change it. And I had 2 days left. He said, no, you can't change it. No, it's too late. I changed it. Here it is, I guess. What are object shows? Thank you for asking.
Why did I think this was a good idea?
And why are they everywhere?
They're shows with anthropomorphic objects as the characters. Most of them revolve around competitions, but there have been a lot more with different storylines nowadays.
Object shows take many forms, beginning as reality TV shows on YouTube.
It's not trash. It's reality TV.
Cary and Michael Huang, twin brothers, kickstarted the first engaging object show, BFDI Battle for Dream Island, when they were only 12 years old. Each episode, viewers could participate by voting out a character from the losing team.
Harry Jr. is eliminated with exactly 10,000 votes!
Usually, object shows are categorized as comedies, trying to keep each episode either lighthearted and fun,
팀 이름이라. 팀 마인크래프트는 어때?
or including some sort of dark humor.
Well, Lacey, I don't think I can let you in. What? When you rode my Ferris wheel, you said,
Give me all of this thing!
that really hurt me deep down inside.
But with their creators, the shows grow with them, adding angst or plot twists that you would never expect. And since the show was nothing but humor before, it hit you 10 times harder than any drama show ever could.
Then try to talk again. No one likes you, and I've just been upset. You stole everything from me and never apologized.
The Simpsons have mastered doing this engaging technique.
Maybe we do need something more extreme.
But not every object show is some form of reality show. There's other genres, like A Day in the Life and musicals.
We laugh and we cry. I never want to say bye. We're free and alive. We don't have to.
Or more extreme genres like analog horror or murder mysteries.
Top Hat?
So there are shows with objects instead of people, which I guess is pretty cool because at least you can learn to draw backgrounds.
Huh, how the mighty have fallen.
How did you find object shows?
Remember back in elementary school, I was going around on YouTube, and there it was, BFDI. I think I watched it out of order first, wondering what the plot was.
Me too.
But I still loved it.
Of course. How could you not love an object show crafted by the hand of a 12-year-old?
Oh, for sure.
The usual schedule for an object show is 1 episode a month, which is pretty quick for a show in the animation industry. But I'm quicker as I'm making this documentary in 1.5 days. But I'm also slower because I haven't updated my object show in 2 months.
What is that?
Fandom is a pretty scary place if you don't know anything about it, so I've interviewed some people in the fandom that I'm friends with online. Here's what they said about contributing to the fandom, but I read what they say in really silly voices.
I first actually started interacting with the fandom because of friends and old art. I drew some fan art, and I have a couple of Cs that were supposed to be made into a comic, but the project sort of fell apart.
I got involved on a DeviantArt social site back when it wasn't as crappy management-wise, but just by interacting with various people in the OSC. On DA, and still friends with some of the people I met way back in 2017, though only really one person is still in the fandom from back then. I draw and create things for some people in the fandom, either by making object characters or simply making art of said characters. Yes. Surprisingly, you don't have to have any talent to make an object show. That's kind of the point. You're supposed to grow and learn and get better. It's like the first draft of a story. Take Taco, for example, from Inanimate Insanity. Her first song 11 years ago compared to her newest song. Prepare your eardrums.
She forgot, she forgot, she forgot. But it's not I, it's they who deign to play this game so cool and inhumane, base and uncool.
Please think this through.
You get the point. That's what makes object shows so special. Nobody wants to watch the beginning, making it a bonding point for those who have patience. Or you're just a really bored 12-year-old. Okay, so now you know what an object show is, now what? Now we can go deeper.
Yeah, what?
Of course, it's content for 12-year-olds because it was made by 12-year-olds.
Object shows, by nature, are a bit childish, and a lot of the times cater towards a younger audience. But a lot of shows are like that in general. Like The Amazing World of Gumball, The Owl House. Those are both shows that are meant for children. But again, there are huge older audiences that enjoy these shows. Does that make me a bit childish?
Yes.
But I think to go around and be like, object shows aren't for babies. They are for refined adults with a sophisticated palate or whatever. I think to go around saying that makes you look kind of silly because people look at these shows and they see an object with a face. Now the object's crying? It's a bit childish from an outsider's point of view. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly. There are many object shows out there that tackle deeper topics and more heavier topics that a lot of younger audiences won't pick up on or shouldn't watch because it's just, they won't emotionally understand it.
Yes, object shows are silly. They're lighthearted and fun. I mean, watch 4 and X giggle at each other.
Get me a banana!
Alright, I'll find you a banana.
Stop it! They'll figure it out! Okay, I'll say the thing.
But as the creators grow, once again, their show does too, making them implement some more mature topics, or at least some form of flawed, relatable subjects. Inanimate Insanity and Investigation of Object Nuclearity depicts hallucinations, seeing things that aren't there, and their reaction to it can hit you in a weird way.
Things like that all the time.
I don't understand. Floating bow ties?
No, hallucinations.
Why include such blatantly hard topics? Because no one likes a boring character. And best of all, it makes you feel things you don't usually feel because they're never so straightforward about the topics.
Дурачок, там никого нет.
Неправда. Вот же он.
Then they go and follow it up with comedy, and the cycle of waiting for a tiny frown in a comedy show starts all over again. Huh? What's that? Okay, I have just received word. It is time for a funny related clip as to not bore the audience. Listen up!
Now you can be a big shot. Be a big magic shot. Now you can be a big shot. Be a big
Another tough topic has to be self-image, the way characters portray others and how they see themselves. I mean, a character is typically either upbeat,
Sweet,
or downbeat.
Well, excuse me for actually handling my responsibilities when I have to.
It's hard to make a character in between without them being seen as boring or put into one of the two categories by how soft-spoken they are. Unless they're the cool, I don't care as long as I win characters.
Don't hurt me!
Some object shows have more mature topics, but not too extreme. Well, they can get extreme, but we can't talk about that. Also, they don't follow the quote-unquote usual guidelines for an object show. The creators try to, or should try to keep in mind that their audience is mostly minors.
Yeah? Well, I'm a minor.
If they don't take this into account, the minors rage. At this point, the fandom has considered any object with a face as part of the OSC, object show community.
Car battery!
They're kind of weird, but whatever. but there is some good portrayed in the heavier topics. They can help by letting viewers relate to the characters via self-expression, exploring the way they think and feel, explaining their thought process in easier words, or simply showing how they cope with certain things or give distractions. What would you consider the best object show? Well, online viewers say it's the originals, BFDI, Inanimate Insanity, Brawl of the Objects, but maybe the best isn't even the most popular.
Your first object show shouldn't be one. A lot of people suggest one as the first object show for someone who hasn't watched an object show to watch, and I just heavily disagree with that.
The computer! Why would you do that? No!
We're done already?
One has to be one of the best object shows I've ever seen, in my opinion. So why do so many people say not to watch it? If you have no prior knowledge of other object shows, then one doesn't make sense. It leaves you more confused than intrigued. Wondering why some objects are so traumatized over something so normal. One is very different than your typical object show, but to fully understand it, you need to know some of the basics, like how most objects are comedy-based, battle to win a prize.
And now we're at the final 7. Again.
Please, I just want this show to be over.
Or the fact that objects usually respawn through recovery centers when they die. Casualties happen all the time because they're objects.
Everyone, Nickel. Everyone died.
1, 2, 3, go!
But one thing that isn't really talked about is how all the contestants in object shows usually don't question anything and just agree to play, willingly walking into competition.
We're on a game show with an invisible host in the middle of nowhere. Great.
One? Is that an acronym or something?
Yeah, it stands for...
Where are we?
One is a show that breaks all laws of an object show, only hitting harder when you understand what typically happens. The characters are brought there against their will. Not typical. I mean, you get teleported to a random place with people you don't know, and all of a sudden you're told you're gonna be battling to win a prize? Sure, you might be intrigued at first, just like the characters in one were, but then you remember things. I have a pet, I have a family, I have a job, I have things I need to do. Doesn't seem as fun anymore, does it? The characters realize this and start trying to purposely eliminate themselves by failing challenges. However, it doesn't work, as Aerie makes the challenges easier to win for the ones choosing not to participate.
I thought it would work!
Backpack, or so they call him, is the main focus of the story, living a normal life until he met his fate to compete in the object show, becoming the main target for horrors that unfold. It's basically as if you took real, conscious people with the bodies of objects and sent them into an object show. I mean, that's what one is. We know that they can respawn when they die, but they don't. They continue to compete, if you can call it that, each object getting sent back to where they came from. But something happens.
Okay, the person eliminated is...
The objects are left with no response for days, weeks, months. This isn't supposed to happen. Eventually, they learn to accept this, living life and helping each other through it all. And finally, there's peace in the show again. But...
Hey guys, I'm back. We can start the elimination soon.
And we're back to the show. Backpack gets eliminated, sent back to his own world back in San Francisco. But his life isn't the same. I don't think anyone's life would be, so what does he do? In an earlier episode, Liam met a character named Stone.
I don't understand that.
But they seemed to know a lot more than the other contestants. They were about to get eliminated, but knew something was gonna happen.
I'm gonna eliminate someone now.
On 3, 1, 2! Was that the bite of 87?
Liam remembers the notes that Stone gave him, going to the location of a sticky note, having nothing else to lose. He finds a contestant he played with, Soda Bottle, better known as
Bryce.
It took some convincing, but after a while, he got Bryce to help him. They start trying to figure out how to find the other contestants. Looking at the sticky notes for reference, they go to a friend for some help. They find a computer in a garage sale, taking it home thinking it might have something to do with the show. But it doesn't, and so they fight.
I'm not gonna jeopardize my livelihood for the sake of some scraps of paper.
I could list 1,000 different reasons why I'm here. I've got enough on my mind already. You know these notes are real. You just don't want to throw your comfortable life away for this.
You're right. I don't.
Not even for the life of another person?
Not until I'm convinced without a shred of a doubt that these notes actually mean something beyond cryptic instruction.
This computer isn't enough? Me traveling across the country to your exact address isn't enough? What else needs to be proof for you to care about this?
Another contestant. They work together and they find out
They weren't the first.
Going to try and find the others that were in the show before them, but they could only find one, and he thought it was all a dream. Going back to Bryce's apartment and heading to bed, but when Bryce wakes up and notices his car keys are gone, he goes out and searches for Liam. They fight and reality sets in that point of view means everything.
You're telling me your life wasn't completely ruined after what you experienced?
No, Liam. My life was miserable before this competition. Now that it's over, I actually have an incentive to do something with my life. You just can't move on with your life, can you?
Were you there for 7 months? 7 months in a barren wasteland stripped of everything that gave you a purpose in life? I'm dead to this world, Soda Bottle. Don't you get it?
Liam, still following the sticky notes, climbs on top of a lighthouse. Bryce gives in.
Come on!
What happens next made me feel a roller coaster of emotions, but you'll have to watch it for yourself to find out how it ends. I hope maybe one day I'll make an object show that breaks out of the normal routine, but until then, I'll keep getting inspiration from the best object shows out there.
Yeah, thanks to Taco.
Wanted one of these. Oh, yeah!
That is so sweet. You did the price. Like, oh my gosh, I love it so sweet. I love it.
Hello? You okay?
My wife left me!
That's it? Just one grain of rice? What am I supposed to do?
It's just actual vomit.
You want to know what happened because of that? Not really. I missed the Galactus Fortnite event.
Here's your card.
I kicked it.
He kicked it.
I kicked it.
Wow. Where is it?
I don't know. Kicked it.
Thank you for saving me. I was so thirsty.
Banana! Banana!
Wait a minute, this isn't a Minecraft server.
Oh, your pathetic choices don't matter right now.
I can't wait for our date. It's gonna be so much fun. Huh? Oh my god!
She left me.